Paris. City of love, romance and dreams. So they say. I used to say it too. But ever since that day, the day of the murder, I've always associated my beloved Paris with death. I was at home having a bath when my editor called.
Collard, get your ass over to the Palais Royal now. You got an interview. With Pierre Carchon. Yes, the Pierre Carchon. No photos, so leave your gear at home. He asked for you personally. Don't ask me why. Anyhow, this could be big, so if he makes a pass, don't forget. Just smile, say yes, and keep taking notes.
So charming and so very apt. Pierre Carchon was a media king, a national hero, and one of the most infamous adulterers in Europe. He and his wife Imelda were just one step down from royalty. Whoa, I hate mimes, but unless you humor them, they don't go away. Here I was, the palace of the Media King and the Ice Queen. I pressed the doorbell and set in motion a chain of events which would change my life forever.
Yes? What is it?
Madame, my name is Nico Collard. I'm here to see Monsieur Carchon.
Come up, we're on the first floor.
Madame Carchon, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, I'm sure.
The Ice Queen was certainly living up to her reputation. Will you be staying for the interview?
Mademoiselle, I know little of my husband's business affairs, and I care even less. I certainly have no intention of watching him pore over yet another pretty little journalist.
Pretty? You're too kind, madame.
Ah, the talented and very beautiful Mademoiselle Collard. Such a pleasure to meet you at last.
Monsieur Carchon, I am honored.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
Call me Pierre, please. But I do not flatter you idly. I was a friend of your father. He was a great man.
My father? He never mentioned.
He and I were very close. And then his death. So tragic. I must... Imelda, your damned cat's in my study again. Another Ming vase, I suppose. Excuse me for one moment, my dear girl.
You journalists are getting younger each year.
Perhaps it's the rest of the world getting older, madame. That was no cat.
My God! What? Monsieur Carchon!
He's dead. I must call the police. You'd better stay here.
There was a man. It was the mime. Do you think he...
Well, I believe we can rule out suicide, don't you?
No wonder they called her the Ice Queen. She would have been top of my list of suspects if I hadn't seen the attacker myself. And if I hadn't come across a couple of murders just like this already. One of the most important men in Europe murdered And here was I, Nico Coulard, alone at the scene of the crime. Should I wait for the cops? Or start my own investigation? It was a no-brainer.
Hello! Oops. Get rid of that. Don't need to worry about that. Hello and welcome. I'm Shelf Unit, and a slight change to the standard sort of games that I play. This is Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templars, Director's Cut. First in the Broken Sword series of point and click games. Yes, I know you're tired. I'm tired too. But yes, I figured I've had this game in my Steam library for a long time, and I've always, since back in the days of Monkey Island and things of that nature, been interested in playing one of these, but I never really have. So I'm going to attempt this. I've played about half an hour of it so far. Gone through the first chapter, give or take. Or the introduction, because this isn't the original game didn't have this. This is a sort of a preamble. We're playing Nico here for this first part. I think we then move on to a different character, where the game originally started. And we have to investigate a death. I'm not 100% certain how long this is, the whole game, but I'm going to give it a go. Fair warning, I am crap at puzzles. So we will see how it goes. So basically the object is we take a look at things, we hover our mouse around and we can interact. We have our inventory down here, which we don't have anything in. This is just a little diary. Gives the basics. So let's take a look at things.
A bust of Pierre Carchon, humble servant of La France.
So I've turned on the subtitles. So with a bit of luck they will appear in English.
The bookcase was filled with obscure first editions.
Once I get some items, I will be able to look at the inventory.
A small round piece of glass had been cut out of the pane. This was a professional job.
And once we uncover things, we can then interact and look.
I didn't want to cut myself and leave blood on the glass. Call me old-fashioned, but I like to keep my DNA to myself. The killer must have used a ladder to reach the window. He was long gone. Guess he folded that ladder up, popped it in his pocket and took it with him. Pierre Carchon again. His eyes seemed to follow me around the room.
And then finally we can get to the body.
Mimes and guns don't usually go together, but I had an idea that this was no ordinary mime. I'd come across this murderer before and written about him. The costume killer, at least that's what I'd called him.
So first of all, I'm going to pick up these.
It was one of my hair clips. My favorite, in fact. It must have fallen when I was knocked down.
So now we have only got one item, but in this satchel selection, once we get more items, you can combine items by clicking and dragging onto other things and all sorts, but we don't need to worry about that just yet.
I closed his eyes. It was the least I could do for the poor fellow. Some people hate searching corpses for clues. Me, I'm okay with it. Reminds me of an old boyfriend.
Delightful.
Carchon had been shot.
Let's pick this.
In his pocket, I found a ticket stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie. Taking the ticket meant I tampered with the evidence. There was no going back now.
Anything else to look at? I don't think so. Not going to bother to change his eyes again.
Carchon had been shot.
We've looked at that. Now we can go here. You can drag and combine the two things if you want, or you can drag and do things with them. So we've found everything there is to see here, I think. So now we go out of the room.
The police could turn up at any minute. Somewhere there were clues to the murder, and I needed to find them.
Let's see if we can go in the room.
The door was locked.
Let's have a look at the tapestry.
A medieval pageant. Original, no doubt. The tapestry must have cost a fortune. A Louis XIV table with an antique cloth. Imelda had taste. But hey, with a husband that rich, taste is easy.
Damn straight it is. Let's take a look at this. What can we do? We can...
I reckoned that cloth might just turn out to be useful.
Oh, and we have uncovered a hole.
Even my fingernail wouldn't fit into such a small hole.
But what could fit into a small hole is a hair clip.
Aha! Nico, you are just so damn good at this stuff.
Damn straight you are, my dear. And now we can take...
Instead of comforting Imelda, I was ransacking her flat. Why? Because there was something going on here, and I had to get answers before the cops arrived. And hey, she'd been rude to me, so she had it coming.
And now we can leave. But now we also have...
It was a boat ticket stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie. When I was a little girl, Papa used to take me on the Bateau Mouche as a treat.
Okay, so right click is to look at it.
It was one of my hair clips. My favourite, in fact. The cloth was embroidered with an unusual symbol. A key. Maybe a safe key.
Okay, so you can see more interesting things about them. Let's take a look at this.
Imelda had talent, but I certainly wasn't going to tell her that. It was a tube of acrylic paint. French ultramarine. Just the colour I was after for my bathroom.
I'm sorry, I have to go. Someone is...
Young lady, what are you doing? Oh, this paint. It's my favourite colour.
For God's sake, keep the damn stuff.
Okay, now we have the paint.
The tube of paint from Imelda's easel. French ultramarine.
Okay, let's go talk to Imelda. See what she has to say for herself.
Excuse me, madame.
Yes?
Let's talk about her husband.
I am so sorry for your loss, madame.
No, you're not. You're a journalist. Journalists don't feel sorry.
Not true.
We shall see.
Let's talk about whoever this
How
is.
did your husband know my father?
That's her
I have
father,
no
apparently.
idea.
You didn't know him? Thierry Coulard.
Pierre knew a lot of people I didn't know, most of them women.
That's all we can get about her father. Not sure why her father's been brought up in this, but we shall see.
Why would a mime want to kill your husband?
Pierre had plenty of enemies. Half the husbands in Paris for a start.
And we'll talk about him again.
Why did your husband send for me? What did he want to discuss?
I have no idea. His business was his business.
He never told you anything.
No, and frankly I preferred it that way. This is quite a scoop for you. I suppose you're already inventing the headlines.
Just because I am a journalist.
Don't patronise me. You're all cut from the same cloth. Do you have any moral sense at all?
Let's be nice.
Yes. That's why I do this job.
You do it to see your name in print.
As if. My editor gets the byline, I just do the work.
Well, don't expect my sympathy.
The police will be here soon, madame. Is there anybody you would like me to contact? Family, friends?
No, I have no family. Pierre and I were... He was all I had, really. Not much, was it? The dutiful wife. That was my role. He never talked, never let me in.
I know one thing, madame.
What?
If you want to find out who killed your husband, then you let me do the job, not the police.
Why? How do I know I can trust you?
Be nice.
Your husband invited me here today because he needed me. I think he knew somebody wanted to kill him, and he knew I could help.
I doubt it was your database he was after.
You're wrong. I was onto his killers already, I am sure of it. Please, you owe it to him.
I don't know.
All I need is a few more minutes to look around before the police come.
You really do have a moral sense, don't you? I trust so few people. And perhaps Pierre really did think that you could help. Of course it wouldn't have stopped him seducing you too. Here, take this. It's the key to the drawing room next to the library at the end of the hall. It was Pierre's room. I rarely went in there. I couldn't. I was too scared of what I might find.
Thank you. I promise you won't regret this.
Okay, let's quickly check the diary. Bum, bum, bum. Mel doesn't trust me. Fortunately, she's chosen me to investigate her husband's murder. Yeah, this is a very slow-paced game. Come on. There we are. No, I didn't want to go in there. I really didn't. Sorry, my mouse pointer just went the wrong way. There'll be a lot of this, I'm afraid, people. So now we can...
The door was locked.
Do it? Ah, okay, so I have the key, which I have to use on the lock.
Now we were getting somewhere.
Yes, we were. I thought that would just automatically would allow me to go in. Okay, let's take a look here. We've already found a few things we can look at.
The painting showed the Cachons together, in love. As the poet said, the past is a different country. Or did I read that in a fortune cookie?
Okay.
There was the very faintest of clicks.
So let's open this, and there
Behind
is a
the
safe.
picture was a safe. The safe was locked. I needed the key.
So we have the key. So let's unlock the safe.
In the safe was some kind of artifact. There were strange symbols on its surface. It looked like the printer's blocks I'd made at art school. If there was one thing I'd learned about symbols, they are always important. But these symbols scratched into stone were impossible to read. I needed to find a way of printing them. At least the stone was round. But what could I use for ink? And what could I print on? Sure, I was stealing, but I knew Imelda didn't know about the artifact, and Cachon was past caring.
Okay, now let's take a look at both the
It was the drawing room key.
key and...
The artifact was like an old printer's block, covered in symbols.
Okay, let's see what this is.
This wasn't the time for me to lie on the sofa doing my Marie Antoinette impression. Though it is very popular at parties, especially with gay guys. Don't ask me why.
Okay, I won't.
As expected, the desk was yet another priceless antique. Yawn. The blotter and in tray had clearly been placed with mathematical precision.
Let's take a look around here then. Let's take
My
the
heart
reference.
skipped a beat. It was a carved elephant. But not just any carved elephant. It had been made by my father. I knew for certain because in my apartment I had its exact twin, carved into a box he had made. So Carchon had known my father. They really must have been friends. I decided to take the carved elephant. It clearly meant nothing to Imelda.
Okay, let's take another look at this.
It was the beautiful elephant my father had carved. I didn't need a sheet of blotting paper. Not while it was blank.
Okay,
I didn't want to take the tray, but I knew that I could use it.
okay. How do we use the tray? So, what we need to do is, this is clearly going to be the ink.
Putting the paint straight on the cylinder would be too messy. The paint would go everywhere.
Okay, so let's maybe try and pop that on here. Splooge.
I'd spread blue paint over the bottom of the tray. It was ruined. I was a very bad girl, but also quite a clever one.
Okay.
I didn't want to take the tray, but I knew that I could use it. In a way, I was going back to art school.
So now let's use this on there. Now there is a second way of doing this, and I did that.
I rolled
in my
the
practice.
artifact in the paint until it was completely coated.
So now we have a used
The paint had been squeezed from the tube.
paint tray, and
The cylinder was covered in the blue paint. I needed to work out what to do before the paint dried. Genius! The roller and the paint worked just as I planned. But what did it say? It was some kind of coded message. It read, "Sub judice." I may not have learned a lot as a journalist, but that was a term I knew well. It means a legal case that is before the courts. Below it was a sequence of letters that made no sense. I suddenly realized there was a connection between the boat ticket and the coded message. The boat ticket was stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie. The conciergerie on the Ile de la Cité, by the river, housed the ancient law courts. So, sub judice could in this case mean literally under the law courts, below the conciergerie. I was pretty sure I'd found all I could here. And besides, all this opulence was making me pine for my regular life of poverty. This was a huge story. It was also one heck of a puzzle with a lot of pieces missing. But I was going to crack it. And if I could just remember the name of that fancy prize you get for being an ace journalist, I was definitely going to win it this time.
sure you were. Okay, let's see what's through the door, if anything.
Locked. Not surprising, really.
Okay, I think we've done everything we can here. Should I turn the lights off or on?
I didn't need the lights on. It was light enough already.
Okay, back we go. Let's talk to her again. Well, let's see if there's a phone call we need to make.
There was no one I needed to phone. Not until I had solved this case.
Fair enough.
Did you find anything useful?
This carving. Do you know anything about it?
It was Pierre's. What does the statue have to do with...
Please, I need to know.
He was given it by a friend. Something to do with Africa.
He never explained any more.
No. But I think it was important to him. Always on display. Why?
It was carved by my father.
Oh, I see. I didn't know.
Imelda, I will do everything I can to find the killer.
Thank you, my dear.
And if the police ask,
Don't worry. You were never here.
sub judice was the key. I was going to have to find a way under the conciergerie. I decided to head straight for the quayside on the Ile de la Cité. If there was a way of getting under the conciergerie, it would have to be from there.
Hour later. Okay.
Canchon wasn't the type for messing about on the river. He was up to something down here. Something that got him killed.
Okay. What's this? Obviously it's a boat.
An old boyfriend of mine owned a barge once. Dampest relationship I ever had. In every way. The conciergerie. Former royal palace, prison and law courts. And also home to the busiest guillotine in the French Revolution.
How are we going to get in here?
The fence wouldn't move. This fence wouldn't move either.
Here we go.
The cross looked familiar. I'd seen it before. It was embroidered on the lace cloth I'd picked up at Carchon's apartment. I knew I was on the right track.
I would be talking a lot more in this, but unfortunately the game itself tends to sort of speak for me in most of this. Yeah.
I tried pushing the fence, but it wouldn't move. A strange pair of locks stopped the latches from releasing the gate.
Okay. Puzzles. Don't you just love them, hey? So, very clearly we need to figure out how to move this block here so we can pull back the puzzle. So I'm going to give myself a minute or so on this. I'm terrible at these. Why can I... I mean, okay. Let's... slide things across. No. Yes, let's slide that out. No, no. No, this isn't going very well. Okay, let's exit. Thankfully these things reset. So I'm going to go over to this side. This one I think is a little easier. So let's see if I can do something with this. That's not going to do a great deal, is it? Ah. Okay, my uselessness continues. Or maybe, or does it? Okay, let's. I'm going to give myself about a minute to do this, and then I'm going to resort to a guide because I'm really bad at these. These puzzles are not for me. So, what we do first. This down. This across. This up. This up. This across, this down, this down, this across, this down, this down, this across, this up, this across, this down, this across, this down, this across. This up, this all the way across, this up, this across, this down, this across, this up, and
Yes! One down, one to go.
I just honestly don't understand how these things work. My brain is equipped to do moderate puzzles, but not puzzles like this. I just feel so stupid, I really do, all the time when it comes to puzzles like that. So, this down, this across, this down, this across, this up, this that way, this down, this across, this back, this up, this across, this across, this across, this up, that across, that up. Doesn't feel right. This across. That down. That across. Yep, that's now there. That down, that up, and that across.
Nothing like a good convent education for honing your lockpicking skills.
Yeah. Oh. Almost makes me wish I'd had a good convent education. In we go.
For a room full of junk, that was one very sophisticated lock system. This place was definitely fishy, in more ways than one. Oops.
Okay, let's take a look at it. Can we do it? Do we lift it back up or not?
Moving the skiff would only damage it more.
Okay, well, it left something very clear here.
An old shell case. I wondered what that was doing there.
Let's see. Stone cylinder. SDS. Blah, blah, blah. We did that. Below, found a shell casing. Weird thing to find in a grotto. Don't want to go back. Take a look at the door.
No handle, nothing obvious. But there had to be a way to open it. The words Sinister and Dexter were carved on either side. Now any good convent girl like me knows the old Roman for left, right, left, right. But what did it mean here? The hole was too small even for my little hand.
Okay. So, the only thing it could be is this, this, or this. We know it's not this. Let's try this. Nope. Okay, so let's try this.
Mystery solved. Carchon's stone cylinder slotted into the hole with a satisfying click.
Okay, so S and D, we know where we've seen S and D before. Here, it looks like a safe, so I'm going to guess it's similar things to a safe. We must click these buttons to make it go on that. So SD, SS, D, SS. So let's try that. So S.
A satisfying click told me I turned it to the right position. It felt like tumblers in a safe.
And so D, SS, D, SS, DSS, DSS. D.
Another click. Another step closer.
S. S.
I love the sound of locks clicking open.
Okay, we'll take
I
that
removed
back.
the stone cylinder.
Never know, we might need that later. And we're in this weird room. This is the only thing we can see. Come on. In you can go.
Oh my god! The slab came down with a hell of a force. With nothing to hold it up, the cross dropped back down again.
So we need to find something to hold this up with.
Lifting the cross closed the entrance door and also opened some kind of stone panel. Ingenious.
So let's use this. This is the only thing we have that would hold it
The
up.
stone cross was propped up. Now I was getting somewhere.
Now let's take a look over here.
I touched the slot. Nothing bad happened, which was good. I've always been attached to my fingers. This slot was designed for something specific. But what?
Well, I'm going to assume, yet again, that it's this, because we've got nothing else.
The artifact slotted into the hole perfectly. Behind the old walls, I could hear some kind of mechanism groaning into life, but whatever had been triggered had now jammed.
What's in here?
The gap was too thin for me to get a grip. I needed something thin enough to prise the door open.
Now, do we have anything? Try the hairpin.
I was going to need something a lot stronger than a hair clip to free the door.
So we don't really have anything. We've got a ticket, or the...
Rolling out the painted cylinder had given me a print of a secret message. It read,
Yeah. So the only thing else we've got is a key and this key and the elephant. Neither of which look good enough. So, and again, I did have to look for help on this
I
one.
removed the shell case. The cross didn't drop back down. Some kind of mechanism was holding it up.
Okay, so we need to take this out. And what we need to do now is take the shell case and place it down here. And then come back here. And now we have
The stone slab had flattened one end of the shell case. The shell case had been flattened at one end, forming a serrated edge.
something that could be useful. So we now need to walk back over here. This is still good enough to fit in here. We then replace this back in here. Now I'm fairly certain that that little ringing sound might indicate that you're doing something correctly. Now we go back here. Since this is now
I
locking everything in
removed the
place.
shell case.
And now, using the flattened thin edge of this, we can take this.
Another good use for a shell case.
Apparently
Another
so.
secret room. Somebody had something to hide. But was it what I was looking for?
Let's go in.
Wow. Through the darkness, I could see that this was a stateroom. But for what purpose? And how did it tie in with Carchon?
So, I cannot see a damn thing here. I did notice this flashing.
Amazing! The thing still worked. The room lit up bright as day.
This looks like...
That wasn't going to help. That wasn't going to help.
okay.
A door like that always has something important behind it. I had to find a way to unlock it.
Let's look over here.
I wasn't going to find anything in this old desk. It hadn't been used for years. The flags had faded, but their message was still pretty clear. Fascist regalia, a message of hate.
Okay, I don't see how that's maybe in this version of our reality that's a fascist symbol, but
The flags had faded,
okay.
but
Let's have a look on this.
it was pretty clear from the lack of dust that someone had been working very recently at this desk.
Pictures of her.
Oh my god! The sheet was a printout with my personal information. Everything from my favorite food to my waist size. They were right about chocolate. But come on, guys, I'm a size 10. There was even a picture of me, taken with a telephoto lens. Carchon wouldn't have taken these pictures himself. This was big. And organized. I was part of it. And people were getting murdered.
Let's see what these
This
are.
was the article I'd written about the costume killer. My suspicions were right. Carchon had cut it out. 2 businessmen had been killed. One in Italy, one in Japan. In each case, the killer had worn a costume, a penguin, and then a snowman. But that wasn't the only link between the 2 murders. Both the victims had been big media do-gooders, and I proved they were just the opposite. So, how did they fit in with Carchon? The dregs at the bottom of the mug hadn't dried out or gone mouldy. It wasn't more than a day old.
Okay. Let's open the drawer.
Inside the drawer, I found a note written in some kind of code.
Fair enough.
Damn, don't you just hate it when that happens?
Tremendously.
The drawer had come out easily enough, but wouldn't fit back into place.
Usually if a drawer can't fit back into place, that means there's something in there.
A photo, long lost, had fallen down the back of the drawer. It was very old, but there was no mistaking the guy in the foreground. Carchon. Behind him were soldiers, a burning village and a corpse. The photograph was cropped on the right-hand side. Somebody else in the picture obviously didn't want to be in it anymore. I wasn't surprised. This was Africa in the 60s. An uprising was being brutally suppressed. And here was Mr. Media himself, Carchon, doing the suppressing. The photograph was not just powerful evidence. It was also my ticket to one explosive story.
Anything else in there?
There was nothing else in the drawer.
Okay. So let's take a look at
The
the photo.
photograph showed Carchon smiling happily to camera, with a background of burning huts and death.
And substitution cipher means a different symbol has been used to represent each letter of the alphabet. To crack the code, you must correctly match all the symbols to their corresponding letters. Highlight a symbol and then highlight the corresponding letter. Make a mistake, click on the go back button, or you can reset the whole puzzle by clicking on the reset button. Anyway, let's pop this as a T. God, where is it now? And this as... Oh, come on. Why can't I see these things? This is so easy. I've completely lost the symbol. There we are. So that's no. 2 and 2. This is an A, an I, an A or an I. Can we make anything of this? Something, something, 2, 2. Oh my god, why am I so fucking stupid? So, A or an I, this has to be an A or an I. Let's call it an A. Okay. This makes a bit more sense. So we have now, unless they're being rather rude here, this is not a W, this is an H. So let's pop that as an H. So that. So to something T, the something to something A. So that now has to be an I. Okay. There's, let's say this, that must be an S there, because that would then make this an is. So let's say that's an S. This is to something to. It. So there's only one word that I know of that would make this a W, and that would then make that a weight. So let's say that that's those. To. This is to something to weight. I am. No, it's not important. Something. Oath. I'm going to have to say this is a B. We've already used I, so this has to be a U, but this is too important. Ah, is that something, us, who? So this must be an N, is not, but this is not a, let's say that's an N. Something, to, but this is to wait. Anno? Maybe that's wrong. It's not a something I, something it, that, something us, who, to, in, something in, oh my god. I'm going to say then, the only word I know is urgent, so that would make this an R. This would be a G, yes, to, yes. This would be a G. To something, but this is to, we haven't done E yet. I thought we'd done an E. Ah. And there's lots of them as well, if that works. Okay. Pierre. That was my idea there. So this is P. Pierre. Something report to, but this is too urgent to wait. Arno. That's somebody's name. And I'm going to assume that's a D now. Is to Arno and something both dead. This must be another name then. This is not a coincidence, so this now has to be C. Coincidence. Indeed, it seems, so that must be an M. Amada, both dead. This is not a coincidence. Indeed, it seems that Must be an L. Pierre. Full report to follow, so that's an F. Full report to follow, but this is too urgent to wait. Arno and somebody are both dead. This is not a coincidence. It seems that all of us who came together are in danger. This must be a K. Take great care. Okay, so we've only got a few letters left. Let's try, well, I'll go in through this. Okay. Jewel. That's... Yamada are both dead. Take care. Last, usually people sign off with an X. Okay, that's...
I had decrypted the note. It read, Pierre. Full report to follow. But this is too urgent to wait. Arno and Yamada both dead. This is not a coincidence. Indeed, it seems that all of us who came together in July are in danger. Take great care. X. I wasn't the only one to make the connection between the costume killer murders. I'd been right all along. That was why he had asked to meet me. But what did I know that he didn't? I had enough for a story. An amazing story that was going to make my reputation and blow Carchon's to pieces. I needed to get home fast and start typing.
Bonsoir, Collard.
Nico, it's Ronnie.
Hey, Ronnie, you cracked open the champagne yet?
Are you crazy?
What's wrong? Wait a minute. You didn't print it, did you?
Course I didn't print.
That's the best piece I've written.
The last, as far as I'm concerned.
It's important.
It's suicidal. You can't destroy a national hero.
He deserved it.
His corpse isn't even cold.
Ronnie, 2 hours ago I told you what I'd found. You loved it. You begged me to write it up immediately.
2 hours is a long time in newspapers, Nico.
Someone's got to you, haven't they?
Listen up, Nicole, and listen good. Pierre Carchon had a lot of friends. Powerful friends. For your own sake.
Forget what happened.
You got it. End of conversation. Good night.
This should have been my big break, but I knew there was nowhere else to sell this story. If Ronnie wouldn't print it, nobody would.
Bonsoir, Collard.
Mademoiselle Collard, my name is Plantard. I need to talk to you about your story. Your Pierre Carchon story.
How did you know about that?
There are people out there, madame, who will be very upset by this story.
Oh, really? Well, it's their lucky day. It's been spiked.
Yes, I know. We must meet.
We must?
I have information relating to your costume killer stories. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., Café de la Chandelle Verte, Rue Alain Court. I shall be wearing a grey overcoat. You must talk to no one about this.
You can't tell me what to...
Tomorrow at 8. I'll be waiting.
People complain about newspaper articles all the time, but not usually before they're printed. I was beginning to feel scared. This guy, Plantard, could I trust him? Should I meet him or forget the whole business? I didn't have an answer.
I'd only been in Paris for a week, but already I'd fallen in love with the city. My latest discovery was a little cafe, La Chandelle Verte. I was pretty sure the waitress was taking a shine to me. That old Stobart charm, I guess. Little did I know my reverie was about to be so rudely interrupted. As I picked myself up, I was really angry. 1 minute I'm on vacation, the next minute some clown's blown me up. I knew right away what I was going to do. I was going to find that clown and bring him to justice. Because justice matters. Justice is up there with liberty, and equality, and, fraternity. After all, that's why I'd studied law, wasn't it? Well, that and money, of course.
Okay, and I think that's where I'll pause it there. I think this is the beginning of the original game. So I shall say thank you ever so much. Hopefully you enjoyed that. It's a strange one for me. There's very little talking of my part involved. Yeah, that's the opening chapter to, or the introduction to Broken Sword 1. What's it called again? The, where are we? Secrets of the Shadow of the Templars, Director's Cut. So hopefully you'll join me for the next episode, where I shall wander around Paris after a bomb and try and figure out what's happened. Anyway, thank you again. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.